Need to Succeed, the podcast. This will help you get everything that you want. This will power lift your life, give you unshakable confidence to achieve your biggest goals and wildest dreams. It's going to help you to create a life that you love and build relationships that you adore. Why am I so confident that I can give you that? This is my job. I'm a mindset and confidence coach. This is what I do for a living. I've never given these life hacks away on a podcast for free before, but that's about to change right now. So put your seatbelts on and buckle up and get ready to enjoy the ride of your lifetime. People call me the mother of motivation, the confidence queen, the person that you go to for positivity. This podcast will motivate and empower you to run at your life, and the fastest way you can do that is to use these techniques, the same ones that I've used in my own life and the ones that I use and encourage for my clients. The only question that is left to ask you is, are you ready? Let's do this. Right, important question, Chris.
Yeah.
Glasses make me look amazing or pretentious?
I would go without the glasses because you want people to be able to see your sincerity. Yeah. Okay, right, here we go. Hello and welcome to Everything You Need to Succeed, the podcast. I am super excited to be here on the first episode, and I have my wingman, my co-host. What are we calling it? Co-host. I have my co-host, Gregg, here with me to have a great conversation about what is Everything You Need to Succeed, the podcast, all about. Yeah, so I'm very excited because I feel like this is going to help me improve my life. Just by being part of this podcast, I'm going to get techniques that are going to make my life better in so many different ways. And this first episode is really about what the podcast is and what people can get from it. So you're somebody that's an expert in this kind of thing. You've written books about this. You're a motivational speaker. What is it that people are going to get out of this podcast? Oh, well, I'm really excited that you're excited. And what people are going to get out of this podcast is they're going to leave it knowing exactly how to take control of their life, how to power lift their life, how to get themselves from where they are to where they want to be. It's going to be great. It's basically a distillation of everything I've ever read, everything I've ever heard. And I've put it into this step-by-step guide, this formula to help you. And that's what we all want. Sometimes the worst thing for me is feeling lost. I hate the feeling of just not knowing where I'm going or how to get there, and it creates overwhelm and stress. But when you check in on this, what we're doing, people will be able to take away actionable, tangible steps that they can use to help them on the journey. And these are techniques that can help with anything that you're facing, whatever it is that you're worried about, what you want to achieve with your life. These can be applied to anything in your life, can't they? Absolutely. These are universal techniques. These are really the success formula. It's a success formula that millions of men and women throughout history have been using to get them from where they are to where they want to be. If ever you meet anyone who's at the top of their field, whether they're an athlete, whether they're a business person, whatever it is, they have followed these success principles that I'm going to be sharing. Now, this is a big deal because these are secret success principles. Normally, you have to pay for this stuff, don't you? Absolutely. Well, for the last decade, I've been charging people for it. They're going to get it free here. Of course, you have to pay for it. And the reason why you need to pay for it is because they say people who pay attention. So with this podcast, if you're listening, then I'm hoping that you're going to pay attention. Maybe you should throw money in a money box or something to listen to the podcast, and then you'll take it more seriously. Because, I don't want people to think, oh, this stuff's free. It can't be any good. This is quality premium advice that we're going to be giving out on here. I'm glad that you said that, because sometimes when you give something for free, people think it's worth nothing. But this is absolutely the best stuff, and I am dedicating my time to sharing this with as many people as possible. I cannot wait to get stuck in. So what are the different steps that we're going to be going through on the podcast? So how it's going to work is step 1 is all about clarity. So I've created these 12 steps. And these steps have been broken up in this specific way because once a mentor told me that life is like a combination lock to a safe. If you know the correct numbers in the right sequence, the safe always opens. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, young, old, rich or poor. It always opens. So these steps that you're going to get access to are the steps to success. Each one needs to be followed in sequence. So they're going to get access to step number 1. Which is all about clarity. A lot of the people that go through this kind of training and this methodology that I've been teaching for years say to me they're stuck, they're trapped, they don't know how to break free. They don't know where to go. And sometimes when you don't know where to go, you just stay still. You just stay stuck. You're not actually able to move forward. So they're going to be able to, we're going to hold their hand. We're going to show them what to do step by step.
You're going to guide them out of the cave into the light. So you said step one is clarity. So that's, I guess, all about being really clear about what it is that you actually want to get out of the podcast and what you want to achieve with your life.
Clarity is so important. So we need to talk about that first. And it has to be step one, because if you don't know where you're going, any road's going to get you there, isn't it?
You've worked out what you want to achieve after your clarity. What's the second step?
So the second step is actually, it's all around mindset. It's to get you to really look at yourself and believe in yourself and believe that you can have everything that you want.
Okay, fantastic. And then after that, what's the third step?
Oh, the third step, it's one of my favorites, and it has to come third, because step one, you have to decide what you want. Step two, you have to believe that it's possible. Step three is all about building that self-esteem, that inner confidence. It's about doing the inner work.
Because a lot of people come across as confident, they come across as having self-esteem, but maybe they don't really feel that confident in themselves. And it's not about outward confidence, is it? It's about how you feel about yourself inside.
Exactly what you said, Chris. There's so many people who maybe like flex and peacock and say, yeah, I'm really confident, I believe, but when it comes down to it, they're not. Or there is that other idea where you're confident in your own surroundings or the things that you are comfortable with. But what I teach is unshakable, rock solid confidence that you can take with you wherever you go.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because a lot of people feel confident when they're at home with their loved ones, or if they're in a familiar setting, if they're in the pub with their friends. But if you put them on stage in front of a load of strangers, or in a job interview, or learning to drive a car, suddenly you don't feel confident at all.
Yeah, what I found with the work that I do is that I help people to actually build that unshakable confidence that stays with you. Because yes, you can turn up somewhere and you can feel overwhelmed. If you drop me in the middle of Japan and I don't speak Japanese, I'm still going to have self-confidence. But I'm going to be saying, right, let me connect to my confidence and let me now try and figure out how to, let's say, find the bathroom. I'm going to have the confidence to ask somebody.
Yeah, I'm probably wondering where your luggage is and your passport, and probably not liking me very much after I've thrown you out of an aeroplane over Japan. But good luck with it. We'll do it as an experiment.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay, let's not do that, because we need to continue with the podcast. So what's the next step after the confidence?
Well, you've just literally thrown me now. Okay, let me come back. So step 4 is all about personality. It's all about how to build a powerful personality, because once you have the clarity and you believe in yourself and you have high levels of self-esteem, if you don't know how to get along with people, and if you don't know how to make friends, like the book, Make Friends and Influence People, like if you don't know how to do that, it doesn't matter if you know where you're going and have confidence. People won't like you, people won't help you, and they'll throw you out of a plane.
Well, this is great, because these are all the different things that you need to sort your life out, aren't they? That if you're thinking, oh, why am I not happy? It's probably a few factors. It might be that you don't have clear goals. It might be that you don't feel confident in social situations. It might be, as you say, like those skills that you need. And a lot of it comes from within, doesn't it?
Communication is a massive skill. Communication training, communication coaching. When you have high levels of confidence and self-esteem and you're running towards some kind of goal, you're more willing to adapt your personality and really look at the way you communicate. And when you can communicate effectively, you can really achieve great stuff.
Fantastic. And then what's the next step after that we're going to go through?
Oh, step 5. Oh, I get so excited, because step 5 is the thing. It's like, step 5 is all about who do you follow and why do you follow. That's the main title, because it's about having a roadmap. Because you might know what you want. You might believe you can have it. You might have high levels of self-confidence and self-esteem. You may be able to communicate effectively. But if you don't know where you're going and you don't have a clear set out map, how are you going to get there?
Well, you'll get somewhere, but you won't get where you need to go, will you?
Yeah, and you won't even know that you're not at the place that you need to be because you didn't know where you were going in the first place.
It's like when your battery runs out on your phone and you're using it as a sat-nav. And I've had many nights where I've just driven around blindly trying to get home from an event and hoping I'll see a signpost, and just all the signposts are for places you've never heard of, just random country villages. And you just think, I'm never, ever going to get home.
Chris, let me ask you, when you are driving around with no sat-nav in the middle of nowhere looking at signposts that you don't, how does it feel?
It feels incredibly annoying, and I worry about my petrol running out and just, will I ever get home and reach civilization? It's the terrifying feeling, really. Basically,
anxiety, that's the uncertainty. And that's what happens. If you don't know where you're going, you don't have a plan, you're not 100% confident that where you're going is going to get you where you want to be, you start to feel anxious and annoyed.
And really annoyed. And also not being able to tell anybody that you're lost because your phone's... We rely on our phones so much, don't we? And then what's the next stage after that? How many stages are there?
There's 12. So we're getting halfway there. Chris is like, how many stages are there that we're going to be covering?
So
right.
What number are we on?
Right. So we're on number 6 now. Step number 6 is a really important 6. So let's just say, for instance, you've got the clarity, you believe in yourself, you've got self-confidence, self-esteem, you're able to communicate well, and you know what your map is. Now, number 6 is all about feeding your mind with the good stuff, making sure you're listening to things that bring positivity. So like one thing, treat your car like a university on wheels. Never get into your car and turn on the engine without something positive flowing through. Don't turn on the news. I know right now we're actually recording in Revolution Radio where normally we play the news, but I'm saying don't turn on the news.
That's okay. I'm happy to give the news a skip, especially at the moment when it's very depressing. You know, you want your car to be an oasis of calm and of positivity.
Absolutely. Step 6 is all about creating an environment that feeds you the good stuff. Don't let your mind be intoxicated with things that are going to drag you away from the goal.
I think also I tend to use my car as a skip. So the footwell on the driver's side, I just throw rubbish in until it piles up above the level of the seat. And then it's time to get a bin bag. That's not helping my zen, my positivity.
Not at all. And also, if ever I needed a lift, I will never come to you now.
You won't be able to because it will crunch underfoot as you get in.
Oh my gosh. No. Okay, yeah, so that's another thing. When you create what you feed, it's a bit like this, and I'll say this with tongue in cheek because I know what Chris likes to drink. It's like waking up in the morning when you are on a physical new regime, opening the fridge and downing 2 litres of fizzy brown stuff.
It's a normal start to my day. Yeah.
And then putting 7 jam donuts in your mouth and expecting to have like a healthy physical body. Same thing when you wake up and you go straight to your phone and start going into this social media bath of sugar. You too are it's gonna really not start your day in the best way.
Absolutely agree with you, but very difficult to have the motivation to not do that when that is how you normally do start your day. And then what's the next step after that?
Right, step 7 is all about who you surround yourself with. We've all heard the quote by Jim Rohn, you become the average of the 5 people that you spend your time with. And if you haven't heard it, there you go, there's the quote. But ultimately, who you surround yourself with. So once you've got your roadmap and you believe you can have it and you're listening to motivation in your car and reading books, if the people that you hang around with are anchors, dragging you back, holding you back, not thinking like you, then that's another thing. So we're going to talk about who you surround yourself with.
So I guess it's sort of culling your friend list and being a little bit brutal at times. If there's somebody that's just sucking the positivity out of you, cut them out. Cut them out.
Well, that actual episode's called Pick Your A-Team. Who do you want on your A-Team? Because the people that aren't on your A-Team are going to be on the bench. They're on your, maybe not even your B-team.
They're your Murdochs. I mean, they let him stay in the A-Team, but he brought nothing to it.
Nothing whatsoever. And they're the ones you have to watch out for.
It was all about BA. And then the next step after that?
Right, so then it's step 8. This is being known for being the best. Now, this idea of being known for being the best means this is when you start to really commit to become excellent. This is when you say, look, this is what I want to achieve. I know how to get there. I believe it's possible. I've created an environment of like-minded people. Now I'm going to double down and put everything that I've got to be known for being the best. I'm going to be the top 2% in my industry.
And that's so important to have that positive way of thinking. So, because you're never going to achieve it if you don't believe that you can.
No, you're definitely not going to. And also because the competition is so high and because there's so many people who are thriving towards their goals, if you don't make the decision to be known for being the best, then what happens is you'll be mediocre. And the best thing is if you just become excellent and you make excellence as your priority, then you'll have more chance of getting to the goal.
Fantastic. And then what's coming up after that? So you can hear that these are quality subjects that we're going to be talking about every single time on the podcast. So, I mean, by the time you've reached this point, you've already turned your life around a huge amount.
Yeah, you'll be a rock star. By the time we get to this, so the next one's step 9, which is change your thinking, change your life. This is truly about understanding the way that you think, how powerful thoughts are, about deciding to talk to yourself in a new way by really like getting inside your head and asking yourself, which belief systems do I need to edit out of my mind? So that's really cool.
Because so much of the way you think affects everything, doesn't it? It affects you physically, it affects you mentally and emotionally, and I think people don't realize how much your subconscious mind hears your inner monologue and the things that you say about yourself and the things that you say to other people. It's not just, you know, whether you think it consciously, it's getting there below the surface and affecting you subconsciously as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that your mind is like a garden, and every thought that you think is a seed, it's either going to grow into like this beautiful flower and create that oasis garden that you mentioned, or it's going to grow into a weed. And when you've got weeds, they're so hard to get out.
When your garden's overgrown, you just need to start trimming the bushes.
Absolutely. And by listening to this podcast, you'll start to get a real, it's like a strimmer. What are they called? Strimmers?
You need a strimmer to trim your bushes when they get really out of control.
Yeah, or you could just get a razor. I'm only joking.
I think we've gone, this is a whole different podcast here, personal grooming. So yes. What happens after you've trimmed your garden?
Once you've trimmed your garden, well, you will feel definitely at ease, and you will also be on the lookout for any weeds that just shoot out at any point. But the thing is with weeds, you know, they're quite difficult to get out. You have to rip them out.
Especially the ingrowing ones.
Right, we're taking it to a whole nother level. And if we're going to talk about ingrowing weeds, yes, we all have our own, if we think about it from a metaphor, we all have our own ingrowing weeds within us, and these may lay dormant from our childhood. So it's about making sure that when they start to poke out, that you are able to grab them and rip them out quickly before they take over the whole garden.
I mean, my wife has a problem when I use her tweezers and she can't find them, or they've been bent out of shape because I've used them to open the battery compartment on a child's toy, and she gets really annoyed because she can't get rid of those troublemakers. So what's the next episode of the podcast going to be after that?
10. Episode 10. I was just having a real visual of you opening a child's toy with tweezers.
It's the best way of doing it. If you need to change the batteries and you can't find a screwdriver, tweezers get into the corners.
Well, there you go. You heard it here. Any advice about opening toys with tweezers?
This is the place.
This is the place. So the next one is number 10. Now, this is a serious one. And I think once you've followed all the steps that we're going to go through during the podcast and you are in a place, number 10 comes at the right time. And number 10 is called How to Keep Going Even When You Don't Feel Like It.
Oh, this is good, because sometimes you do need that motivation when times are tough and you just feel like giving up. You need a voice to say to you, no, stick at it, because sometimes the final hill before your destination is the toughest one to get over.
I love that, the final hill. And you can't even see that you're so close to the finish line because the hill is in the way. But this is one that many of my clients, many people want me to talk about, because no one really talks about the tough times. You know, they talk, normally they stand at the top of the mountain and go, I made it, look at me. And I think when you look at these celebrities and wealthy people and successful people and fit people and the people who are where you want to be, we can get disillusioned. Is that a word?
Disillusioned.
We can get disillusioned that they got there and it was easy for them. But to get anywhere requires you to be persistent. And this episode 10 is all about how do you keep going when you just don't feel like it.
Successful people, you never see them fail, because the failures and the stuff that they've gone through before they became successful, it's off the radar. You don't hear about that. What you imagine, these celebrities have just become successful immediately, but actually a lot of them will work very hard for many years, doing what they do without any recognition before they reach that level of fame, unless they've been on reality TV.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And then also sometimes the press and media make us think that things are easier, because I heard a story about Toni Braxton, and it's quite a famous story, and it's that she was singing at a petrol station and a record producer said, wow, you've got a great voice, and then signed her. Now that is kind of what happened, but the reason why those stories go so wild is because they're so rare. That is so unlikely that you're going to be humming a tune in a lift and Simon Cowell's going to say, hey, let me sign you to Psycho. But those stories, when they do happen, they make people think that it was just easy.
Yeah, but Toni Braxton had probably been singing in bars and pubs and stuff and developing her skills for many years before she was good enough to get noticed.
And she might have been at the right place at the right time, but I wonder how many of us have been at the right place at the right time and not been able to sing.
Yeah, but if you could be at the right place in the right time but not ready, and then the opportunity will pass you by. Because Toni Braxton, she could have been rubbish.
Yeah.
And then nobody would have turned a blind eye. She'd still be working in the petrol station.
So that's all about preparation, preparation, meeting opportunity.
Okay, and then next episode, are we on to number 12?
11.
11,
You're rushing us along, Chris, aren't you? Next one is number 11, which is called You Can't Get Pumped Without Energy. And anyone who knows me is I've got massive amounts of energy. But I actually break down the word energy, the letters of the word, because I want to talk about energy and actually like the law of vibration, the law of frequency, the law of attraction. And I know that when people think about mindset and mental health and confidence and all this kind of stuff, sometimes people label it as woo-woo, but I am not woo-woo in any way. I really love science. So this is where we talk about quantum physics theory on mindset. We talk about we're going to go deep. And the reason we're going to go deep is because otherwise it just sounds like I'm saying, just believe in yourself. But actually, I want to support everything I do. I support with science. So I want to show how actually our thoughts are physical particles that are vibrating, that bring things into our lives.
Wow, that is going to be very interesting. And then we finally reach episode 12.
Yes, episode 12. And this is the one that I really love because it's like you've done all the work, you've put everything in place, and you now have your rucksack on your back and you're ready to run at it. And this chapter is called Just Do It, famously coined by Nike, who are not sponsoring the podcast, but we will take sponsorship.
By 12 weeks' time, they might be trying to get on board, and we're like, sorry, Nike, we've got other people that we want to work with. It's very much a series of learnings that you can go through that will just every single week make your life a little bit better and help you reach some clarity and reach some understanding of what you need to be doing to make your life better, but giving you those specific things to do and those skills that will actually make a difference and bring about some positive change as you're going through.
Think of it as like I'm giving you the winning lottery numbers. I'm giving you the lottery numbers so that you can write your own check. And I think that's important.
Do you know, better than winning the lottery? Because you can win the lottery and still be an idiot and just live an awful life. It's better to have those skills in place. So when you do win the lottery, you'll actually be happy.
I agree. And also, like for me, I never want to win the lottery, and I put it out there because I think that if you win something that you've not earned, it's you can start to have anxiety because people think, well, what if I lose it? What if I lose it? Where I know that with the stuff that I've learned and these principles is if I lost it, I would know how to get it again.
Statistically, you're more likely to die watching the lottery draw than to actually win it. So that's why I don't play.
Wow. You're more likely to die watching the lottery draw than winning it.
Assuming you bought a ticket. If you haven't bought a ticket, then you're never going to win. So you got to be in it to win it. That's another thing.
That's their line. You got to be in it to win it. Is it?
So
Everyone's a winner, babe.
If we get sponsored by the National Lottery, then we might have to re-record this one. Just
and
have a more positive message.
Go and buy a lottery ticket.
That's brilliant. So looking forward to this. I think I'm going to emerge at the other end of this podcast series a far more superior version of myself, and so will everybody listening. So we're looking forward to getting stuck in, and episode 1 is going to be coming up next. So thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you very much.